baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. There will not be one brick on the face of the earth that's going to be laid better than this brick that I'm going to lay in this next 10 minutes. Yeah. And you do that every single day.
And soon you have a wall.
And soon you have a wall.
Yeah.
And I think psychologically, the advantage that gives me over a lot of people that I have been in competition with in different situations is it's difficult to take the first step when you look how big the task is. The task is never huge to me. It's always one brick.
How do you force yourself to do it? You can wake up in the morning and say, today I'm committing to making small progress on this thing I'm curious about.
I believe there's a success formula, and it takes two parts. It takes first showing up. 50% of success is just showing up. I think in life, you want to show up for your health, show up for your relationships, show up for your career, show up for your service. But just showing up, is that just going to get the job done? No, you have to play full out.
Why you're doing the things that you're doing. Why do you have the bad habits that you have? Like when you find yourself at the same point over and over and saying, oh, this is like Groundhog Day. Why is it that I just keep landing in the same spot over and over? Well, you have to look at it and say, you know, what are the things leading up to that? What are the decisions I'm making? What are the habits I'm doing? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And pretty soon you can start to recognize your own patterns. When you can recognize your own patterns, that's when you can create change.
You will feel resistance. You will struggle. You will start to feel like it needs to be perfect. You're going to come up with excuses. You're going to talk yourself out of it. Why? Well, because you're used to thinking, and now you're asking yourself to do. Why am I explaining what you should expect? The reason why I'm explaining what you should expect is because it's normal to feel those things. It's normal to feel scared. It's normal to feel like you don't want to do it. It's normal to think about doing it perfect. Letting those things stop you is a choice.
The road to success is through commitment and through the strength to drive through that commitment when it gets hard. And it is going to get hard, and you're going to want to quit sometimes, but it'll be colored by who you are and more who you want to be.
The only solution is micro action. That's it. I don't want to hear shit about your big goals. In fact, for everybody out there, I don't want to hear shit about your dreams and your goals until you're actually taking the actions every day for a couple weeks straight. You don't get to talk about your dreams until you can prove that you wake up and every single damn day you push yourself to take one small action forward. If you can do that consistently for a month, then you can start talking about your dreams. Then you can start talking about how you make money at it. Then you can start talking about how you build skill around it. But until you can...
Inspiring, informative, and entertaining talk and music. You're listening to TW3 Radio.
How could a man hit a target he could not see? That's a pretty good question. Here's another one. How can you hit a target you do not have? Besides, planes are built for flying. Ships are built for sailing. Houses are built for living. And man, too, was built for purpose. He was designed for accomplishment. He's engineered for success. He's endowed with the seeds of greatness. And the greatest danger we as human beings have is when we do not do anything at all. People today complain of lack of time. It's not lack of time that's the problem, it's the lack of direction. Are you a wandering generality, or are you a meaningful specific? Are you going to work tomorrow because that's what you did yesterday? If that's the reason you're going tomorrow, you won't be as good tomorrow as you were yesterday because you're 2 days older and no closer to the goal you do not have. What about you personally? Have you got your goals laid out? Are you a meaningful specific, or are you a wandering generality?
see, you are part of an equation, and you are needed. Part of why we should begin to look at how we give up our lives, that we got to begin to see, what is it that I'm supposed to do? What is my life work? And then give ourselves to that. Because as we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you, as you begin to take on this new era that we're in, if you decide that I'm going to start giving more of myself, I'm going to start putting out more, contributing more to life, here's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee you that life will take on a whole new meaning for you. I guarantee you that life takes on a whole new dimension, that you'll be happier, you have a greater sense of happiness and fulfillment in life, that now you will begin to take off on some new paths to some newer horizons, that you'll begin to see life totally different than most people.
You got to have those long-range goals. And the rule is a simple one. You go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you'll always be able to see further. Are you a wandering generality? Or are you a meaningful specific?
And most of us go through life because we're not using that which we've been given, that we are punished, that we're going through life getting up in the morning with no reason to get up. There's a scripture, when I heard it, I couldn't understand it. I say, how cold? He that hath shall get, and he that hath not, even that he has shall be taken away. He that hath a generous view of life, he that has courage, he that hath initiative, he that hath resourcefulness.
I say it with all of my heart. I know in my mind that man was designed for accomplishment, that he's engineered for success, that he is endowed with the seeds of greatness.
You're listening to TW3 Radio, inspiring, informative, and entertaining talk and music for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
Why is it that people don't want to grow? Why is it that they just settle for being less than what they are capable of being? Why is it they shy away from doing their stuff and challenging themselves and taking life on and making it an exciting adventure? Why is it? Because living your dream, it's hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard living your dream. We are in charge of our attitudes. And when you're in charge of your attitude, you say, if it's hard, then do it hard. I won't allow this to stop me. I don't have the option of easy. I don't have the option, and I don't think you do, or any of us do, of going around trying to find a dream that's a little dream that doesn't require much responsibility or not too stressful or won't be too much of a hassle. No, no, no. I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. An optimist sees an opportunity in every calamity. A pessimist sees a calamity in every opportunity. What can make it okay? Your attitude about it. That you decide that this is not going to determine who I am. Charles Swindoll said about attitude, he said, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact attitude has on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures and successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearances, giftedness, or skill. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play the one string we have, and that is our attitude.
If there's anything in life that you don't currently have right now, it's because of who you are and how you think. I know you're strong enough to do it because you're human. And every human has what it takes to get past whatever they're going through if they decide to. Push through it. Push through it. Tragedy and trials come to everybody. Only the strong survive. Y'all running from pain. Y'all running from challenges. You telling me how difficult your life is. Do you understand it is the difficulty that's going to prepare you and take you to that next level? I'm here just like you here, and I promise you, I ain't leaving without the degree. I will not leave without that goal. I will not leave without that dream. I will not leave this university until I'm successful. I will not leave this job. I will not leave this client. I will not leave this opportunity until I get it.
You're listening to TW3 Radio, inspiring, informative, and entertaining talk and music for the entrepreneur and small business owner.
Look what you did there, and you can't do that. And who are you, Terry? Who are you to go and talk to hundreds of people about business? You're a failure. You went bankrupt. Well, let me tell you something. I figured out a way not to do business. And you need to know this. And Les tells a story about where he was playing Connect Four. I don't know if y'all know Connect Four, but it's this little checkers game that you play. And he's playing with his son, and he's playing. He played for hours with his son. And he says, "Son, I'm ready to go to bed. I'm tired." He says, "Dad, one more game. And he said, "Son, I'm bored. I'm tired." He goes, "Listen, it's not over until I win." And finally his son won, and they could quit playing. And he says, Les says, how many of us would find so much more success if we'd have the attitude of that little child? It ain't over until I win. This ain't over until I win. I'm still going to play this game. I'm still going to be involved. I'm still going to be engaged so I get my breakthrough.
Welcome to TerryWilson3.com, home of TW3, the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, enjoy, and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Terry Wilson.
Thank you, Keith. This is Terry Wilson, and you're listening to TerryWilson3.com. And we're in here, even though explosions are going off left and right. I hope they're not aiming at us.
Also in the podcast.
Real. So we're in the studio. This is me, and this is my son, in whom I'm well pleased, Mr. Reagan. And tonight we're talking about, in episode 438, the decision process. Tonight we're talking about how we all make decisions. Have you ever had someone say, well, just make better decisions?
All the time.
Well, you might have been told that. You might have given that out as advice. But if we don't break down why we make the decisions we do, sometimes we could be led to believe that if we made a bad decision, well, it's just a character flaw. And sometimes it can be, but not all the time. And so we're going to break down tonight how we all psychologically make decisions and what that looks like, so that for the express purposes of making better decisions. Because in business, just like in life, if you can make a decision that brings value to you and helps your business, helps your clients, helps your employees, helps your team, then everybody wins. And I think, boy, if there's ever a time in life we all need to learn to make better decisions, it's right now. You ever had someone that you've observed make some terrible decisions?
Myself, plenty of times, for sure. But
would you care to share one of them?
One of the, I think you know what I'm thinking of immediately. It could be, I'm going to talk about it vaguely just to see how it goes over. But I made pretty recently a decision that could be considered a bad choice.
Okay.
You know, I went about something that normally people would go about it a little differently, and I still stand behind the way.
You're going to stand behind the decision.
I stand behind it even now.
But it might have been unpopular.
It was for certain people. And
counter norms.
Right. It's very counter norm. Nothing illegal.
Nothing illegal. Nothing immoral or unethical, but just...
But see, what makes it a positive for me even still is before I made the decision that certain people would maybe frown upon, I weighed my options.
Yeah.
I said, what's the benefit for doing it the right way?
Or the popular way, or the
popular way, or
the standard protocols.
But I think once you weigh your options, and honestly, I still think it was the right decision. I'm happy with the way I did things.
Well, as long as you, the biggest thing I would tell you is, sometimes making hard decisions and unpopular decisions can be difficult, but I would rather make a hard decision that's unpopular, that gets pushed back from other people than a decision that's popular with everyone. And I'm up at night every night just like, man, I wished and you just constantly wished I shoulda, coulda,
should have done it this way.
Should have done it this way.
Yeah.
God knows I've made decisions that was probably popular with a lot of people around me, but boy, I was just like, felt like Bill Burr's dog. Have you seen that video? Yeah. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
And so tonight, that's what we want to get into a little bit in segment 2. We're going to talk about a training, because I think we live in a time period where, business, entrepreneurialism is always putting us in a position. And when I say us as entrepreneurs, us as self-employed people, it's putting us in a decision or putting us in a position to constantly have to make decisions. And there's different things that can hinder people from making good choices, good decisions. There's that whole thing of, paralysis by analysis. There's a ton of people I know. One of the hardest things of starting a business, launching a business, growing a business, the hardest thing about going after anything is that first step. There's so many people that stay in their head. Mm-hmm. And as long as you're in your head, you are not making money. You're not making an impact on people. You're not having an influence with people. You're not doing, I hate to say it, but you're not doing anything. You're thinking, and you're planning to plan to plan. You've got plans and you want to have those plans do this. And it's that whole thing. Well, as soon as I understand how, or as soon as I have the confidence to do something. And I love what when we had Cliff Ravenscraft on our show a while back, he was talking about how you will never have confidence to do anything new, because if it's new to you, how can you with any integrity have confidence on something you've never done before? Yeah. It's you need courage to say, hey, I'm going to try this, come hell or high water, I'm just going to try this. I could fall and fall on my face. But confidence comes once you've done something. You've done it. You failed. You've come back. You failed, and then okay, I've learned this.
Confidence typically comes from like an assuredness of your skill in something. A lot of times.
When you've learned something,
but if you've never done something, you can't really have.
How can you have confidence? And so many people are just in this sort of state of, well, I don't know.
Sure.
And you'll never go anywhere, whether it be your health, whether it be your income growth, whatever it is that you're working on and trying to go toward. It'll never happen if you're waiting on the confidence to do it, because, the only time you can be confident with something is once you've done it enough to where you've worked up a reasonable expectation that some reasonable success can be procured here by this activity. But until that happens, it doesn't happen. We're going to take some questions, I think.
Yeah, so I believe it's in segment 2, or is it segment 3?
Segment 3.
So in segment 3, we're going to be taking your questions. So if you've got any questions, please go ahead and send those in now. We typically have a lot of members on, so they do a lot of the answering actually during the podcast, but we'll also address some when we can. And then the only thing we do ask that if you have questions, just keep it clean, positive, and relevant. And if none of those things, there's a caveat. You're allowed to be funny. So you can circumvent all the other rules as long as it's funny.
It don't have to necessarily be clean and relevant if it's funny, right?
If it's funny.
But if you don't make us laugh, then you keep it to your...
You might want to give it to yourself.
That is so terrible. We might need to revisit.
It's honest, though.
Well, that's honest.
People need honesty.
People need honesty, and we're telling you this is who we are. I mean, we do want it clean, positive, and relevant, but if it makes us laugh...
I'll laugh at some awful things. I'm just going to be honest with you.
You're listening to two people that like Bill Burr's comedy, that like...
It's the type of stuff that makes you go, that's terrible. That's so funny. That's hilarious.
Well, guys, when we get back right after this, we are going to get into a training about, and for you guys, this neuro-linguistic programming. This is what we're talking about. There is a neurological reason why you and I make the decisions we make. And I'm going to break that open in segment 2 here when we get back. And then we'll be taking your questions right after that. So I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but 2020 has had its challenges. But one of the things that I'm proud about what we teach, train on, and advocate here at TW3 is when you have the right tools, training, and technology, you can mitigate some of, not all, but some of the effects of downturns in economy, shifts in industries, even economic and political challenges that your market that you call on might be facing. This year at the 2020 You Are Worth More conference, I gave a training on warning opportunities ahead, how to see and provide value during COVID-19 and even beyond. We liked that training so much. We felt like it had so much content and had so much value in it. We turned it into a book. There's 3 ways that you can get this book. You can go to Amazon.com and get the Kindle version. You can go to Amazon.com and get the written version. And it's a very small book, by the way. It's only about 46 pages. You can read this literally within an hour. Or you can go over to TerryWilson3.com and go to my store and get the audio video training of the session we had at You Are Worth More conference. So I really think you ought to get this. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care what you're selling. You could be listening to this advertisement well beyond 2020. You know, one thing's promised. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we can always assume that there's going to be challenges. That's just the way life is. And if you can be equipped to be able to help people in challenging times, you are going to create a business that can withstand any economic shift, political shift, or societal changes that happens. So go over to TerryWilson3.com and get warning opportunities ahead, or go to Amazon.com and get it today.
You're listening to TerryWilson3.com. Inspiring, informative, and entertaining content for the entrepreneur and small business owner. And now, back to the TW3 studios with Terry Wilson.
All right, so we're back. Let's go ahead and get into that training with Terry.
Okay. Tonight I want to talk to you about how decisions are made. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had someone say, well, just make a better decision? You know, just make better choices. The problem with that is sometimes you're doing all you can to look at the information, make a wise decision on what you perceive, and moving forward. So a lot of times when people make bad decisions, and we all do from time to time, we typically can and be tempted to beat ourselves up, you know, I should know better, and you get frustrated with yourself or you get frustrated with other people. And what I have found is if you can understand how decisions are made, you can be more intentional about the decisions you choose to make. So tonight I want to talk to you about how decisions are made. What causes you to decide on things the way you decide on them? What shapes your perceptions? What influences your ideas? What modifies the way you look at other people and your own motives? So that's what we're talking about, how decisions are made, and we're going to get real intentional about it. So number one, here you are. That represents you in the world, and the wheels are turning in the mind all the time, both on a conscious level and on a subconscious level, trying your best to do due diligence by yourself and being a friend to yourself and trying to do the best you can with the information you've been given. Okay, whether it be in business, whether it be in life, family, faith, politics, relationships, goal setting, health, no matter what areas of life, we're something is causing the wheels to turn in our mind. And we're trying to make decisions on a day-to-day basis. And then you've got the world around you. This is what's going on the outside world. This is the reality of which we live, okay? And neurologists tell us that there's literally 2 million bits of reality that we could bring in per second if we could. Now you can, it's biologically and psychologically impossible, but literally per second, there's 2 million bits of reality going on. Quick example. You're listening to me right now. You're on a live podcast with me right now. Or you got your headphones on and you're laying in bed going to sleep, or you're on that treadmill working out, or you're walking, or wherever you're consuming this content right now. You're listening to my voice and you're trying to perceive what I'm saying. I want to ask you something. If you have 2 functioning feet, do you have a big toe on your left foot? I'm sure you do. Most people do. And if you do, you probably didn't think about it until I brought it up. See, that's a bit of reality that your mind, your subconscious mind, is bringing in, but you're just not cognitive of it. You're not thinking about it, but it's there. And there's this tape recorder going on right now. And that's the way life is. Reality's going on all around us right now. And we can't catch it all, but we are catching some of it. We might not be thinking about it, but our subconscious mind is. So there's 2 million bits of reality going on. Well, how do we capture that? Well, number one, we delete the information, we distort the information, we generalize the information to get it down to 134,000 bits. So we go from 2 million bits of reality to we have to dilute that and get it down to where it can actually be absorbed by the mind. And so neurologists tell us it comes from 2 million all the way down to 134,000 bits of reality, so that we can bring it in. And the only way we can bring it in is make huge generalizations, distort and delete what we're seeing through our 5 senses, our sight, sound, smell, senses, our touch and all that, and taste. So what that means is, out of everything that's going on in life around us right now, most of it, a lion's share of it, is being deleted, distorted, and generalized so that we can somehow absorb it in our subconscious mind. Because consciously, neurologists tell us we can only cognitively think about 7 plus or minus 2, so it could go down to 5 or go up to 9. But the typical person can only cognitively think about anywhere from 5 to 9 things simultaneously. That otherwise, if you cognitively thought of more than that at one time per second, you would get all sideways. And that's where you get into some folks who are on the spectrum of autism and things like that. What's going on is their sensories are overloading, and it makes them in a different state in in our reality, in our world, because their senses have been overloaded. So the human mind, when it's functioning correctly, is distorting, deleting, and generalizing about 3/4 of what it can actually see, down to 134,000 bits per second. And we're only cognitively thinking at most 9, and most of the time only about 5 things at one time. And so what happens is that it gets into that thing, well, all men are this, or all women are that, or all people are that type. That we have a predisposition to want, I'm not saying we should, but want to think in those terms so that we can bring a lot of information down to a manageable compartment at one time. So what happens is our subconscious starts thinking in collages, not in individual specific details, but whole swaths of information. And that's why sometimes when someone has gone through a trauma, a certain sight, sound, or smell can give them PTSD. It can literally arrest their soul and take them right back to that moment. And they can't understand why every time I smell roses, all of a sudden I'm incredibly sad, incredibly heavy, incredibly this or incredibly that, and feeling a tremendous grief and just want to cry, and you all of a sudden have these physical manifestations, and you're having these emotions, and you can't understand why is this happening, all because I'm smelling roses or flowers. And then you find out later on it's because what's happening on a subconscious level is it's taking you back to when you lost a loved one and you was at that funeral home, and this was the smell of the bouquet that was around at that time when you were having all those emotions. So understanding that about our subconscious and understanding how certain things can trigger us can help us understand why we ascribe meaning to certain things. Okay. And you cannot, and it's very important, you cannot feel something or be in a certain state of mind about a given topic or subject or matter until you ascribe meaning to something. And the meaning comes from a memory, either cognitive memory that you can recall or a subconscious memory that you really can't recall intellectually, but there's just something about that person's smile or that smell or that taste of this food or the touch of something. And in other words, you can't put your mind around it. Why am I feeling this way? Or why am I thinking this? Or why is it bringing back this? But meaning is being ascribed to this thing because of something on a subconscious level. And once meaning is ascribed to something, it puts us in a particular state of mind. And when we're in that particular state of mind, we then act upon it and respond accordingly. What you're seeing, and if you're on the visual podcast over at episode 438, as I'm doing this training, I'm doing this training, if you're listening to it on audio, I'm doing this training while I've got a visual a slide deck going up. You might want to go, what I have just laid out is how psychologically we as humans make decisions. And so when you tell someone, make a better decision, well, you need to understand, why do I decide the way I decide? What influences those decisions? Well, it goes back to understanding the meaning that I'm ascribing to something through my sight, sound, smell, senses, taste, all of those different things. And if I can understand that, I can then be intentional with my decision making, because sometimes, here's the point of this whole training. Let me quantify it down now. Sometimes a decision is in front of you, and the better decision for yourself, the better decision for your life, the better decision for your business, the better decision for your family is going against how you emotionally feel about something. A good decision sometimes is pushing right in the opposite direction of where fear, anxiety, or wherever is trying to take you. And that's what I'm talking about when you want to be intentional, when you want to make good decisions. Sometimes when you say, well, I'm the type of person, I make decisions on a gut decision. It's a gut decision. It's just an intuitive thing. Well, I just want to warn you, intuitive decision makers, you folks, because I'm one. I just make decisions. I can't put I can't put words around it. I can't articulate why. There's just something there that I just feel like I understand that there's a real psychological reason, and I want to warn you, and I want to encourage you to really dig deep. Why do I feel this way? Why when I'm thinking about this decision and I'm looking at these choices, is the better choice something that I might, from an internal standpoint, feel a little uneasy about? But if I start really digging deep on the benefits and the cost to that choice, is that the better decision? You see, sometimes I work with people, and the best decision they can make, the very best decision they can make, is to leave a job and do their own thing. Sometimes the best decision is keep what you got and don't do, based on rational information and reality as it lies, and it can be judged on its own merits. And we as human beings, I don't care if you're the most macho person in the world, I don't care if you're like, I'm Mr. Spock, everyone has a subconscious mind that is trying to feed this collage of information up to our cognitive mind to inform us on what looks good, what looks bad. If we can be intentional about, the things that are on our subconscious mind sometimes might be something that we deleted or we distorted. And let me end this with a quick analogy. As many of you know, I'm investing in coaching myself. I don't tell people you ought to go out and invest in coaching. You ought to become a TW3 member because you're going to get coached. You're going to have tools, training, technology, the coaching, everything you need. We take it from an intellectual standpoint. We take it from a mindset standpoint, and we actually give you things that you can put your hands on and actual tools to do to better your business life. So I can't advocate that. I can't promote that if I'm not buying into it myself. So one of the things I'm doing, I'm working with a coach, and he once a month we meet. He said, "What do you want to work on?" I said, "I'll tell you what I want to work on. It's the thing I do real well in business. I do real well here. I'm okay here. I'm satisfied. I always do better, but I'm satisfied. Here's where I'm not satisfied in my life. I would like to get in better shape. I would like to be healthier. I mean, this is an ongoing thing with me." Okay. I just, not for vanity's sake. It's not about a matter of looks. It's a matter about how you feel and being able to have the energy you want and have the cognitive clarity you want to be able to do what I want to do. And so he says, well, have you ever been in shape? Have you ever done well athletically? And I was like, used to be a basketball player, used to be really good at sports, and I used to run, up and down out of the gym all the time. I was one of those guys who could jump up and grab the rim back. I was an athlete, and I couldn't dunk, but a little 5'11", white kid, I did okay. And he says, "Well, why don't you exercise?" And I said, "I'll tell you why I don't exercise. It's miserable. Have you ever been in one of those places? They got, that's what you do when you want to torture, all these torture devices. That's what you want to put people in when you don't like them." And he sort of laughed. We went through this coaching process and come to find out the reason I was so against exercise was the bad memories I had back when I was playing sports and running suicide 3 and 4 days a week for an hour and a half to 2 hours. All we did was run suicides. And it was miserable. And that was my idea of, because he said, describe how you felt. And I went into just deep level where my heart was racing. I felt like it was coming out of my chest. I couldn't catch my breath. It made me anxious. All of these feelings. And it all came back to that. And then he put me on a plan, and he says, well, do this. And where my heart rate never gets up above 145. I'm doing this. He laid out a plan that mitigated my fears, mitigated those negative feelings. He inserted some things I started thinking about. Think about going to the gym this way. Think about how it's your alone time. You can cut your phone off, and you don't have to answer texts. You don't have to answer emails. You don't have to answer the phone. It's just you and listening to your favorite music, your favorite podcast. Oh, that does sound good. Think about it this. You're a content creator. You need time alone. You could be thinking about the podcast you want to do. You can be thinking about different content you're creating. Oh yeah, I do need exercise. And then all of a sudden he was reframing that hour a day I need to go work out at the gym. He was reframing what it meant for me and the benefits to it. He was reframing what I thought exercise had to be. Now I can tell you for 3 weeks straight, I've not missed but 1 day a week, which is Sundays. I've actually enjoy it. I look forward to it. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do now. I'm actually seeing health benefits from it. And it's all because I went in and tried to find out what was informing my decision process. What was the things that was shaping the way I thought about a certain topic? And so now the decision to go work out and the decision to go to the gym is not a hard decision. It's not a tough decision. I was doing it. Matter of fact, before this coaching session I was talking about, I was going to the gym. It was just, I was dreading it the whole time. And I got to do this. And I was miserable, wasn't enjoying it, trying to figure out a different way. And I was explaining this to him. I just don't. But see, when I was in that state of mind, the problem with that state of mind is anything you don't like to do and anything that's a misery to you and anything that, you have these feelings toward, it's unsustainable. So what would have happened was at some point I would hit some sort of arbitrary goal and I would have let off the gas, and I would have said, okay, boom. And I would have been right back. And that's where it's always been, up and down, up and down. But by reframing a given topic and going into the root causes of why I was describing the meaning to this collage on a subconscious level that was making me feel a certain way, which was informing my actions and the way I was choosing to do things, I now can make a decision that's right for me. And the decision is actually easier. That's the decision-making process. And if you want to do better in your business, you've got to reframe, repurpose, and understand what's driving the feelings. Why am I ascribing these meanings? And I will tell you, you'll understand why you have the attitude and the definitions that you have given towards certain topics. If you'll go into the subconscious memory banks and start searching, David says, search me, O God, see if there's any iniquity you've found in me. That's coming from a theological standpoint, saying you want to be a righteous man. But I tell you, that same principle works throughout all of humanity. Search me, O God. Is there attitudes that I hold towards certain things that are not correct? It's just my perspective. It's just my perception, because I've got this data download on the subconscious level that's been deleted, distorted, generalized. I didn't see, out of all the 2 million bits of information I could have saw, my mind, just because of my limited capacity, because his ways are higher than our ways, his thoughts are higher than our ways. I don't know all, can't see all. I'm not a deity. So in my own limited cognitive constraints, I've already deleted, distorted, and generalized things down to 134,000 bits. And out of that, I only intellectually thought about 5 to 7, 10 things maybe. And out of all of that, then on a very tiny, limited ability, I've ascribed meaning off of my limited perception. And the meaning I ascribed informed the way I felt about something. And as I felt about something, I chose and made decisions based on those feelings. I'm telling you, if you can break down the decision-making process that we all have, you can make better decisions, because the good book's right. As a man thinketh, so is he.
And now back to our show with Terry Wilson.
Don't point at me like I'm starting this. You started. No, we're back in the...
No, this is supposed to be your opening.
No, I think you should have taken it there, but it's fine. We'll go ahead and get into some of our questions here.
I just said you...
No, before this, he said, don't worry about this one. I'll actually open it, so don't even worry about it. Look at your Snapchat is what he said, and I did. He didn't follow the script, so that's fine. These are some of our email questions. What would you recommend to someone who has a full-time job?
The reasons why I love the business opportunity here at TW3. I don't know of another opportunity that allows you to have 90% of a business is procuring leads and people that would want or be, have a proclivity toward the thing that you offer. If you're in insurance or real estate, people that are in the insurance or real estate market. If you're into health and wellness, and someone that would be into that. So 90% of business activity, especially when you're starting out, is trying to find those people. Well, here at TW3, you have a system, a marketing tool and platform that does all that work for you. So when you get off work, you've got an inbox. And Reagan, you just started taking calls and booking appointments. You could have set your calendar to where everything that's going on in the background to book those appointments to speak to people would be going on at 5 to 8 in the evening. You could set your calendar up to whatever you want.
Yeah.
So, technically you could have started, even though you went full time because you're doing technical support and some other stuff here.
Right.
But how easy would it have been?
Oh, incredibly easy. It's literally a matter of just pressing a couple buttons, being like, I want to work on this time, this day, and you just set it up how you want it. And
then all you do is crack your laptop open at that time and start talking.
Honestly, I take half of my calls now. I'm not even home. Like I go out and I put my AirPods in and go for a drive.
And you're talking, you don't technically even have to be at your desk.
That's what I'm saying. If you have a smartphone, you've pretty much have everything you need, trainings, get in there. But,
this is your first sales.
It's first sales job for sure.
Sales job.
Yeah.
But think about it this way. If you were in a different type of business that required you to be on the floor somewhere, or it required you to have a product in hand and showing it to the person, you would not have nowhere near the freedom.
No, wouldn't have the freedom, and probably wouldn't get the same enjoyment out of it either. I think the fact that we're able to kind of help people, it just makes the job a lot easier.
Yeah, because you don't have to sell something to make money.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to take an approach, which you
like that part. You're really a coach at heart. I mean,
I'm not a hard closer. I don't have it into me to make somebody do something they don't want to do.
Right.
But like I said, we have such a good system, and we have, the way it's laid out for us. And when I say us, the salespeople, I mean, it's incredibly easy.
Yeah.
Incredibly easy.
So, so for that person, one of the things I would strongly encourage you, look at that sales rep and trainer package or plus rep and trainer package. If you want the ability to earn money without making a sale, you at least want to go up to the plus level. If you are at the sales rep and trainer level, you do have to sell a package to make money. But we even have ways to monetize at that level, but it's easier at the plus level or elite level. And the beautiful thing about the business opportunity here at TW3 is complete and total flexibility. Say that, all of these business opportunity people say that. But what is the likelihood if you only got 2 to 4 hours in the evening to work for you to be productive? Because if you don't have a system that's lining up all of your people to speak with, then that time period is you out beating the bushes, cold calling, trying to get in front of people. 80% of the work is done for you.
It really is.
So all you're doing at that point is just talking to people.
How long have I been full-time now? Couple weeks.
2-3 weeks now?
Yeah. This is my third week.
This is going into your third week.
This would be my third week. My last week calls, didn't have a lot. Week before that I was very busy. And I'm probably working 3 hours on the phone a day.
Yeah.
Like if you add it up all the time.
Right.
Because it's only 10-minute conversations at most.
Right.
Already made a sale, then have a couple more lined up. So, this is coming from somebody that I don't have a sales background.
Right.
I don't really have a lot of background in just communicating with people. I mean, I had a leadership job at my last job, but just kind of not a whole lot of experience where I'm one-on-one with people, kind of like you are here. Like follow the training, come up with, follow the script, but come up with kind of your own thing.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I know you're new at this component of our business, but you're not new to the business. You've been with me 4 or 5 years now doing this, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember how long.
I started in 2015.
So 5 years. Wow. Time flies.
Yeah.
Wow. Doing tech support and stuff in the background. And just from your historic perspective of our business, that typically business is just pouring in. Just absolutely pouring in.
Yeah. It's slow right now.
And it's slower right now. It has been for the last...
it's kind of hard to say it's slow right now.
Well, it's not, because
it was just 2 days ago, whatever, from one person.
Right.
So it's kind of hard.
It's not, but what I'm saying is, from a historical perspective...
this would be a down month.
Yeah. So if you brand new, no experience.
Which, let's be honest, like
being in an environment that's contentious right now in the marketplace because of all the pandemic and the politics.
But that's what makes
that's what's so beautiful about this.
What makes it so easy. And I'm honestly not. I feel like some people might get turned off when you're saying like, yeah, I'm a salesperson. It's so easy. Like it comes across as like a used car salesman type thing. And that's not what I mean.
But no, yes, genuinely
it's literally a process of what does the person need? How can you help them? Sometimes, not always, most of the time even, it's not a person that needs a sales commission job. It's just not.
They need to go clock in somewhere, yeah.
They need something, they go punch their time and they come back. I needed that for a long time.
Right.
Maybe in the future that might not be where they're at, but that's what a lot of people need. And to be able to offer that, there's
It's invaluable.
It's too easy. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's too easy.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate for one moment. You have found your first sale in a matter of 2.5 weeks. Never had any sales experience. Never been on the phone with a new customer before. This is the first time. But here's the devil's advocate. I'll push back a little bit. He knows our system inside and out.
Sure. And I want,
so the learning process about the business,
I don't want
you didn't have to go through any of that. Let's set expectations. Where you took off and found a new sale literally. And by the way, guys, he didn't make these sales because he's my son. He didn't make these sales.
Nobody
knows who he is when he's talking.
For half my calls, I don't use my real name.
You don't even that's what I'm saying. So,
and I do that on purpose. I don't want anybody buying from me. Even if they've heard about TW3, and that's more in this context, like they've heard about TW3, they want to get started.
Which you probably talked to people that.
I pass those people off.
Right.
Those aren't people that I want to sell to. Not because I don't want to help them, because I feel like I could help them. It's just more of like, I don't feel like it doesn't feel right to be. Well,
we've made a decision with our membership that it's off to one of our elite coaches and stuff like that.
Yeah. So,
but so if you can do that in 2.5 weeks in this environment right now, which is probably in the last 12 years, probably I would have to say the most challenging outside of 2008's downturn in the economy, which is what birthed this business, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're doing great this year. We're going to be a little bit above where we were last year,
which is crazy.
Because
this all started in May, really. Yeah. I mean, that's a majority of the year that's been kind of wonky.
We've been on a 28% growth pattern up until August, and we flatlined. In August, end of August, 1st of September, we started and it's softened up. It's just what softened our growth.
Yeah.
Not our actual business. We're just sort of, we're not going down, but not going up. It's just, and now in the last 2 weeks, we've seen it do this. It's starting to climb again. So I really, and I've told this in our elite trainings, and I've told this to some of our elite members that I work with closely. I said, get ready. Just keep up the activity, because I'm telling you, and it doesn't matter who that's. Don't think I'm getting into politics, guys, but I'm telling you, I see what's going on in our pipeline and stuff, and I think we're going to have probably the biggest November in business that we have ever had. Yeah. So now's the time to get in, simply because I think everybody's just sort of waiting, what's going to happen. And so I know how to play my hand, and different biases and everything is going to have different attitudes toward what happens, of course.
Sure.
But just having that unresolved question mark, what's going to
happen. It'll ease some of the tension just to know.
Yeah. Yeah, because then if you feel like this type of administration is going to do this, then you know how to play your hand. If you feel like this type of, so you just know how to play your hand based on your best decisions. But good question.
Oh, I forgot that stemmed from a question. Well, let's see here. Our second question was, I'm considering starting a job in insurance. I've looked at the TW3 opportunity. Which one should I go with and why?
Well, naturally, I'm going to say go with TW3.
No, I go with insurance.
No, I will tell you this. You could go with either and be successful with either. How'd you like that? I pronounced the same word 2 different ways, depending on where you're at in the country. Either and either is the same word.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No, okay, I'll stop. But regardless of what you go with, insurance, real estate, direct sales, here's something I can say that I consistently say. You have got to learn how to generate leads to be successful in business. If you're starting a coaching business, if you're starting a ministry, if you're starting a teaching, if you're starting a school, if you're starting a direct sales business, if you're starting a brick and mortar business, if you don't have the means, method, and mechanism to get in front of people who need, want, desire, and can afford what it is you offer, you are going to struggle, no matter what it's insurance. So the advantage that you would have starting with TW3 is you would learn that skill set, and in the minute you have that skill set, you would become even more successful as you pivot. Because I am no longer a credentialed, licensed insurance broker. I don't have my securities anymore. I don't have anything. However, I generate leads for insurance all the time and securities through our RMPs, and I make money. I do different things. I'm in like 20 different businesses, because I generate leads for them. Now, had I stayed in the insurance, I would take those leads and sell the insurance. But now I just sell them off to agencies that pay me $25-$30 a lead. So, and that's what you would do and could do as a TW3 member.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I thought so.
Answer was kind of meh. But.
Yeah. What do you do?
What's your favorite part about starting TW3?
Working with my boys.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah, it's
He's
true.
lying to you right now.
That was true.
That's his least favorite part,
This
actually.
is the least favorite. Nah. I genuinely, no, it is. It's working with you guys and working with our people.
Culture makes the job.
Culture makes the job. Dude, I mean, think about it. We're sitting here talking, we would be talking anyway, but we get to talk on a microphone and get paid for it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I
Doesn't
mean,
get much better than that.
You literally, and we can talk about what we want. We've talked about music from time to time. We've talked about sports from time to time. We could talk about politics, but it's not advantageous for us to, so we don't. But you and I both,
but we could
have some very strong opinions.
I would say
sometimes they differ. Sometimes they're
what? No, we agree all the time.
Yeah. Live up to your name, boys. But anyway, that's why me and Supply Side trickled down. He named after a great
form of economics doesn't work.
But anyway, it's a good stuff. So guys, when we get back, we're going to what are we going to do? We didn't even announce in the front part. I tell you what, share the show real quick, hashtag, and we'll see if we can find somebody. Share the show, hashtag.
We put it in the description too.
Yeah, we'll put it, maybe. But do that, and if we can find someone, we'll give a book away when we get back right after this. Hey guys, if you've watched my podcast any, you know that I love hats. As a matter of fact, if you see any of my blogs or written content, half the time I'm in a hat. And there's a reason for that. The older I've gotten, I've lost hair, and it keeps the sun off my head, or it keeps me warm. But nevertheless, the quality hat's harder and harder to find. Michael and I were down in Charleston the other week and ran across a hat company called Gorin Brothers. Been in business forever, and they make nothing but quality hats. You can get a fedora, flat cap straws, packables, knit troopers, baseball caps, you name it, they've got it. And you're not going to beat the quality, the craftsmanship, and the material they use. You're just not. And I thought all hats were created equal until I put one on my head. And I was like, good Lord, this feels so good. It breathes. It keeps the sun off my head so I don't get burnt. And I just love it. And so if you want a quality hat, go to Gorin.com or go to TerryWilson3.com/hats. It takes you to the same place. They're not an affiliate of ours. This is not a paid advertisement. I just love their hats, and I think you will too. If you mention this podcast, because I asked them, hey, can I advertise for you and give a little back? Because the real reason I'm doing this is to give value to you, to give you a discount on something if you like it. And they said they would. So they're going to offer our listeners a 15% discount if you just mention the podcast and say, hey, Terry said, I got a 15% discount at TerryWilson3.com just by calling you. And you can also call them if you don't want to go to the website, 843-518-4287. That's 843-518-4287. It's the Gorin Brothers hat company. Don't be boring. Go get you a Gorin hat.
He can't guarantee you success, but he sure can help you eliminate the excuses made so far for not achieving them. Now back to the TW3 studio with Terry Wilson.
No. I'm really starting to understand why you were bad at video games. There's like 8 buttons on that panel. There's only 8.
Well, the problem is it's not labeled. Back when I was using,
how do you not know what they do by now? They're all different colors.
I mess with this. I literally mess with this panel about once a week. So by the time I've figured it out,
I never understood as a kid. I was like, man, he just never gets into video games. And I watched you play a couple times. I'm like, he's terrible. But maybe if you practice some. I'm really just starting to think that like the hand-eye coordination or like the memory portion of
I don't know how to get.
Don't know what to do.
What's that? Remember that scene in
it's Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hand.
Guy comes over. He's like, just put him down.
Just remember, if you ain't first,
You're last.
You're last. I've always said that. That's one of the greatest movies.
I love that movie. It's just on this podcast, I don't know how much I can quote. There's a lot of good quotes in there. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew, Jim. Fantastic movie. It's a really good movie.
I think that movie captures the attitude of so many of our friends and family in this region of the country.
I think that's why we like it so much.
I know, because it's like going to a family reunion.
Yeah, because around here it's huge. You go to the Carolinas and you quote any of that, like if you don't chew Big Red, then you like that. Like
around these parts, people are like, what's the joke? I don't get it.
So many people are just, the Carolinas.
It does. The first time I saw that, I was like, man, that's just like being at the Thanksgiving dinner with,
That's my uncle. If he had a couple $1 million.
My uncle was rich. This is what it would look like. Dinner with Ricky Bobby.
That's why it's a fantastic movie.
I actually think Will Ferrell, isn't he from North Carolina?
Is it him or?
I think it's him.
It might be him. I know Zach Galifianakis is.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason why, matter of fact, when they were filming that, they filmed it in Charlotte. And he's got family over in Cleveland County.
Yeah, I know we have a couple personal friends that have met Will Ferrell and kind of know his family and stuff.
Yeah, well, they saw him on the back streets of Shelby over there, and it's like, that's Will Ferrell.
It's Will Ferrell.
Ricky Bobby.
It's the voice of a generation right there. You put some respect on his name.
I tell you, that one and what was it? Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah,
Happy Gilmore is another one.
I like Happy Gilmore because Adam Sandler does pretty accurately what anger issues play out in real time.
Go to the hole.
Never related more to anyone in my life.
Yeah, who was it? The comedian told us, just send the ball home. Just tap it home. Just tap.
Tapping it.
Well, guys, we apologize for this last segment. I'm sure no one got anything.
I don't apologize for it. If you haven't watched Talladega Nights, go
out there and watch. Hey, I'm telling you, you got to watch Tombstone. Not Tombstone.
But that's what you've been saying.
Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Yellowstone. You got to go watch Yellowstone. It is, it's sort of like if the mafia family was set to a Western. This is what it would be. It would be the Duttons.
It sounds like it should be perfect for me then.
Yeah, it's a great show. Hey, guys, before we get out of here, if you haven't gone to Amazon and picked up this book, you got to. This is called Warning, Opportunities Ahead. It's a short, literally you could read this thing in, 30 minutes. It's a 40-page book, but it gives a real illustration of what Reagan alludes to a lot of times, where he was on the phone with someone and he was helping them, didn't sell anything, make money. I illustrate back when COVID first started and was going on, I was helping people, and this is how I did it. And I break it down step by step. So if you're a member, you'd love to have this book. If you're not a member, you can get this book. It's over at Amazon, and then you can get the ebook version. I think $3.99 is cheap. You can get the printed copy, I think, for $5.99 or $6.99 or something like that. You can also go to youareworthmorebook.com and pick this up right here. This is the book that tells you about this business and what we do here. Motivational, inspirational book. So if you're thinking about doing something, I would tell you, go over there and grab that book. I think it would be a great resource for you. If you get it at youareworthmorebook.com, I'll sign it in to you and send it out to you. And I always like to put a little special note in there as well. Last week when we were doing this podcast, it happened too quick, so I didn't see that. But did you see the news about what happened last Monday on a Zoom call with one of the CNN commentators named Jeffrey Toobin?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my goodness.
I did see that.
That is awesome. Don't be tubing on a Zoom call is all I can tell you. That couldn't have happened to a nicer fella either.
Not to say, but I can't.
If you didn't catch that news, go over and Google, what did Jeffrey Toobin do on a Zoom call? So that'd be fun information to find out. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next time, and thanks for joining us tonight. Till next time, be blessed.
Thank you for listening to TerryWilson3.com today. If you've decided you are worth more, then go to TerryWilson3.com now and get a free digital sample copy of the book. You are worth more. Listen, no one's going to give you what you're worth but you. So stop putting off and get started earning, enjoying, and experiencing what you are worth today. Go to TerryWilson3.com now to start your journey today. That's TerryWilson3.com.